Hey guys, it's Cami back with another video, and today I'm doing something that I'd never thought that I'd do, something I never thought I'd be able to do. But I'm doing it, and I haven't had a shower, I haven't done anything this morning, but I know that if I don't do this right now, I'm never gonna do it. So here I am. Today I'm gonna be telling my story. I'm gonna be telling the story of how Mieibim Dappa raped me. If this is something that's gonna trigger you, please just stop watching right now for your own good. You don't have to. It's not worth it. Also, this video is gonna be very uncut and unfiltered. I'm not gonna edit anything. This is just gonna be me, just very raw and unfiltered. So with everything that's been going on social media recently, with a lot of sexual predators and rapists being exposed, it's all been very triggering for me because it brought back a lot of really awful memories from summer last year. And seeing so many brave women coming out with their stories and exposing these animals for what they've done was like, it was one, really triggering, but two, also very inspiring. But like with everything that was happening on social media, as much as I wanted to use my platform for something great and for something good and to finally talk about what happened to me, I was frozen on the day that everything was happening. I was stuck. I couldn't type, I couldn't say anything, I couldn't tweet, I couldn't talk. I had never felt so weak in my whole life because I always want to be that person that's fighting for people and fighting for good. And on one of the most, I think, revolutionary days in our time, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't say anything. All I did was just break down and cry for a couple hours. I'm sorry, this is so weird for me to talk about. Yeah, so I just broke down and I cried for hours. And that entire week was just really awful for me because I couldn't stop thinking about him. So before I get into what happened on August 21st, 2017, I'm just going to give a little bit of backstory so that you can understand my story a little better. So, October 18th, 2014, I started talking to Mieibim Dappa, and I remember the exact date because it was 2 days before my birthday, and he messaged me and we spoke for a while, and I remember asking him, oh, do you know what Monday is? And he was like, no, I was like, do you know what the 20th is? And he was like, I don't know, Monday. And I was like, it's my birthday. And yeah, so I remember that day very well. And I also remember that day really well because I had had a crush on him for a very long time. He used to be part of this group, this duo, and he used to sing and whatnot, and I just thought he was like the coolest person. And I had messaged him a couple times, but our conversations never really went anywhere. So the fact that he messaged me first and he called me beautiful, like I thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. My 15-year-old ass thought like, wow, this is it. And fast forward a couple months and we were already having a thing. And again, I thought I was like the luckiest girl in the whole world because, you know, he was this cool guy that had so many options. He could have chosen any girl in any of the cool schools. He could have picked girls from Grange or BIS or whatever. And he chose Lil Cam from Lagoon. And I thought, wow, this is it for me. And I remember just like putting him on a pedestal and thinking that I was so undeserving of him because he was this, you know, like cool guy. And I think that's like where everything, like it was like I was basically doomed from the beginning. But yeah, basically we had this thing on and off for from like 2014 to 20 like early 2017 maybe, or late 2016. I don't really remember the timeline, but we were having this thing. And you know how I said I felt like the luckiest girl in the world because he chose me? Well, turns out he chose a bunch of other girls too, but that's not the point of this story. Our relationship was toxic from the beginning. It was so toxic. But I thought he was my first love. I thought, you know, I'm gonna remember this guy forever. And that's true. I mean, after everything, I'm never gonna forget him, so I guess he got what he wanted. But I thought I was never gonna forget him. He was my first love. Maybe even in the future we would find our way back to each other. Yeah, so we had this on and off thing for a couple years. And then like in 2017 I decided, you know, this isn't what I want for myself. I deserve better. I have more things I need to focus on. You know, I want to start a YouTube. I was excited about life, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to move forward or progress with someone as toxic as him in my life. And so I was done. I told all my friends, and they knew and they believed me when I said that I was done, and I didn't want him in my life. And then summer 2017 comes around, and on a random, towards the end of summer had more or less ended anyway, and he randomly calls me, and he's like, hey. And I mean, even though I didn't want him in my life, it's not like I hated him or I couldn't have a conversation with him. I just didn't want to be romantically entangled with him. So when he called me, I mean, we spoke for a very short period of time, about like less than 10 minutes, probably like 5 minutes, really just catching up. You know, how are you? How have you been? And it was nice. It was a nice conversation. And then we ended the call. And then something that I did, which haunts me forever, is that when the call ended, I messaged him and I was like, hey, you have a cute laugh. And that sounds like it's not a big deal, right? But right after I message him, you have a cute laugh, he calls me back. And it's when he calls me back that we start making plans for him to come over to my house. And that's when everything happened. And I blamed myself for so long because I thought if I hadn't texted him, hey, you have a cute laugh, then he would have never called me back. We would have never made plans for him to come over, and what happened to me wouldn't have happened to me. But yeah, so sorry. So he called me back and we spoke, and he started talking about, so we spoke for about an hour and a half. So it was a pretty long phone call, and he was talking about how he misses me and how he, there's always been something about me. He can't just let me go. Our relationship is special. He can't ever forget about me. That he's always loved me. Sorry about that. He was like saying all these things and talking about how he misses me and I'm the one. And he knows we're gonna be together somehow. And I was just like on the other end of the phone call, like just like trying not to laugh because I knew that I was over him. Because if you had gone back 6 months, him saying all those things, I would have been like, oh my god, I love you. But like I wasn't fazed by it. I wasn't gonna like get sucked in again. And then he starts talking about how he wants to come over, and I know instantly that it's a bad idea. I just know that nothing good is gonna come from him coming over. And I say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And he goes on for about 30 minutes trying to persuade me for him to come over. He says, I won't even come inside the house. I just want to say hi. I just want to stop by 5 minutes. And God knows I probably said it's not a good idea more than 10 times. Just like, because I just know that nothing good is going to come out of seeing him in person and him being in my house. And after about like half of that phone call was him just trying to come over. And eventually, I'm just like, you know what, fine, 5 minutes. You say hi, you drop by, and you go. And saying it, I don't even think I believe myself. Knowing Mieibim, I just knew that wasn't what was gonna happen. But I thought I could handle whatever was gonna happen. I thought, it's not like I was naive. It's not like I thought nothing was gonna happen. I thought, if anything, maybe we'd kiss or something. But I didn't think it was gonna go as far as it did. So fast forward 3 days or 2 days or something, and he comes over to the house. And he calls me and he says he's outside, and I go outside and I say hi and I give him a hug. And then we go inside and we go up to my room. And I thought, oh, let's talk, let's catch up, let's have a conversation. And the first thing he does once he shuts my door is he slams me against my wardrobe, and he starts kissing me. And I'm trying to talk and say, hey, let's talk first at least. Let's, catch up. And he's just not listening to anything I'm saying. And he's kissing me and he's taking my clothes off. I mean, it's not what I wanted, but I wasn't complaining. It was fine. I wasn't complaining. And then we're on the bed. And then we're on the bed, and I don't know what we were doing. I don't really remember, but and then he's on top of me. And then he's on top of me, and he keeps saying, I wanna fuck you, I wanna fuck you, I wanna fuck you. And I was saying, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I don't wanna do this, I'm not ready. And he keeps saying, I'll make it good, I'll make it nice. And I keep saying, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. I can remember his eyes so well. They just looked void, like he wasn't listening to anything I was saying. And he kept saying, I wanna fuck you, I wanna fuck you. And he kept saying, it's almost in, it's almost in, it's almost in. And I keep saying, I'm not ready. I can't count how many times I said, I'm not ready and I don't wanna do this. And he keeps saying, it's almost there, it's almost there, it's almost in there. And I'd never had sex before. I didn't know what it felt like. And then at some point, And then at some point, he just goes in, and I just blank out after that because I don't know what's happening. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. It's like I was just static in that moment, and I didn't know what to do. And then when he had finished, he laughs and he says, did you enjoy that? And I couldn't say anything, and all I could ask was, did we just have sex? Because I didn't know. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand what was happening. And he just like smirks and he's like, yeah, what do you think you're doing? And then he goes to the bathroom and he asks for another round. And I'm like, excuse me. And I leave the room. I remember almost feeling like my heart was gonna come out of my chest, and I started having a panic attack. And then I called my best friend, and I told her, I think I just had sex. I think Mieibim just raped me. And I don't remember much of that call. I don't really remember anything. And I go back into my room, and I'm about to ask him to leave and come up with some excuse. But by the time I get back, he's already like dressing up, and he's like, oh, sorry, I gotta go, it's an emergency. And I had never felt so cheap and so used in my whole life. I've never felt so cheap and so dirty. And he leaves, and he asks me if I'm okay. He texts me on his way and he's like, are you okay? Something seemed off. Maybe he's getting raped me. Anyway, I tell him, I'm fine. And then the next day, I text him and I say, I told you I wasn't ready. I kept telling him I wasn't ready and he did it anyway. And then he comes up with some lame ass thing like, what do you mean? What are you trying to accuse me of? Blah, blah, blah. And I think he gets scared at some point and he's like, oh my god, are you gonna tell the police? Are you gonna tell the police? I'm just like, I just want you out of my life. I remember for the longest time not being able to call it rape because, I mean, I didn't punch him, I didn't kick him, I didn't try to get him off me, I didn't push him, I didn't scream for help, I didn't do any of those things. It's not like he tied me up. I just kept coming up with all these excuses as to why it wasn't rape and why it was my fault for almost a year now. And it's like if anyone else told me this story, I would tell them right off the bat that it wasn't their fault, but somehow for me it just felt like it was. Because I'm the one that texted him, and if I didn't text him, he wouldn't have called back, we wouldn't have made plans, he wouldn't have come to my house. If I had screamed, if I had pushed him away, maybe that wouldn't have happened. I kept coming up with all these excuses as to why I shouldn't call it rape. But it was. It was. And it's something that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. It's something that's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm better now. I may not look like it, but I'm better now. I've had the most supportive friends throughout all of this. The most supportive friends. And people who were really there for me when I needed it. I want to share a poem that I wrote the day after it happened. Sorry, I need a tissue. Okay, sorry, I had to go get tissue. So this is how it goes. I cannot comprehend what was happening to me. I do not remember when it began, nor how it ended. My brain on static, soul static, but my body felt everything. The pain as his body thrusted back and forth. The pressure as he pinned me down and had his way. Blurry scenes and broken dreams. Today, the wolf stole a part of me. I remember his eyes, wild and ravenous like that of a wolf on a full moon, completely unable to control himself. I felt a river swelling up in my eyes as he moved in and out of me, a river I only wish would swallow me whole. He cared not for the desires of my heart nor the preservation of my innocence. He wanted me, and that's all that mattered. Blurry scenes and broken dreams. Today, the wolf stole a part of me. I love you, he whispered in my ear. And upon hearing those words, I wanted nothing more than to crawl out of my skin and begin anew. I still want nothing more. My body is no longer mine, free, whole. Blurry scenes and broken dreams. Today, the wolf stole a part of me. I forgot to mention he said I love you when all of that was happening. Like, that isn't the most twisted type of love anyone could ever think of. I just want to say to all the girls that have been through this, or worse, that I'm here for you, and that you are strong, and that you are beautiful, and that you are not some broken thing because of what they did to you. You are whole. Despite of it, you are everything despite of it, and I will fight for us. I will fight for us to the very end. And also to all the women and all the guys and anyone who's been a victim of sexual assault, who hasn't been able to tell their story, don't beat yourself up about it, because that's all I've been doing. But there will come a time when you're ready. It doesn't matter if it's next week, next year, 5 years from now, when you're 60. Your time will come. And when you're ready, you will tell your story. And even if the whole world doesn't have your back, I will. I will. Sorry, I was gone a long time because I had some things to do. And now it's raining. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone that sort of kickstarted this movement. I think Mieibim, Shayla, Shesi, I don't really know the others because I deactivated my Twitter pretty early on. But to everyone who spoke up, who told their story, who used their voice, who used their platform, who helped expose someone, I am thankful and grateful because you gave me the strength and the willpower to tell my story. And I hope that my story will be able to help someone else out there. If you need someone to confide in, I'm always here. I'm just really thankful. I'm really grateful for this movement, because this is the start of something big, the start of something huge. And to any other girl that he has done this to, you are not alone. I'm here for you. We can be each other's rocks, help each other heal. Anyone really, I'm here for you. Yeah, I don't really know how to end this video. But yeah, to any victim of sexual assault, of rape, sexual harassment, our time is now. Our time is now, and this is a battle that we're gonna win. I know it. Yeah, I still don't know how to end this video. Yeah, okay.